for that, my iron is one of these miraculous American irons who never turns off the steam. It's really cheap. So normally you would do it without steam, and iron that on both sides so that I can have it nicely supported. There we go, just do the other side. And then all I need to do is overlock that little edge at the top, or serge. If you're in America, it's serging. Done. Let's move over to the overlocker then and get that thing on. Now I'm going to sew the sleeves to the front. I have marked my front. There's a snip in there for the front sleeve. So I'll just fold that over and place it on. And on the left hand side that you can see here, we're obviously closing it all the way. And then on the other side, we're only closing it up to where the placket is. We're going 1 centimeter higher than where the placket starts. And that will give me just the right height. If you go a little bit higher, it doesn't really matter too much, right? You can mark it for yourself if you want to with your centimeter seam allowance, or just put a cross there, however you feel that you will hit that spot. And then I'm going to place the back on as well, like this. And all I have to do now is to flip the back over, put it on, and I can pin the other seams for the sleeve. There you go, just one pin. I just want to make sure that I don't get this wrong and put the wrong bits in, but really, I mean, once the front is on, you can't really go wrong, can you? Now I'm going to sew those in, and again, with most of my stuff, we have a 1 centimeter seam allowance. If you wanted to seam and serge at the same time, you can do that. Obviously not where the opening is, we can't do that in one go, but generally speaking, you could just serge that. So now let's start doing this opening here. I'm just going to go backwards and forwards, securing my stitches, and then my centimeter seam allowance all the way down to the end. That's it. Lovely, all done. And with all my seams now closed, I need to overlock them, and I'm going to overlock them so the nice side is facing up. And this time you should actually do it from the sleeve side. You can see me here doing it from the other side, but I actually want all the seams ironed towards the front and the back so we can top stitch it. So you want to do it exactly the other way around. Now I fold over my placket so that I can see clearly the overlocking. If you do that, if you make sure that you can see the overlocking, the top stitching is going to be so much easier. You won't even have to move anything out of the way to do it. So make sure you do that. And then we're just overlocking this edge. Pull it around a bit. Make sure that you don't cut into it, of course. That is a real risk. You might want to turn off your knife if you're not sure you can do that. And then we can proceed to iron all our sleeves into the front. So move round, and then we're going to top stitch it on the front itself. And I'm going to use that really nice top stitching thread, which is a little bit thicker than what you would normally use. And here where I've got my opening, I can now fold it over where it needs to be. We do have a marking for that really on the pattern piece, but it will be quite intuitive. It'll be 2.5 on the blue and really 3 centimeters on the front. So that overlaps with leaving a little bit standing of the front piece. And here's my thread, and it looks really nice. You could use a contrast thread as well, but I like this yellow. I think it's beautiful. And so I move over to my sewing machine, and a really good tip is to check out first whether it actually works all right without loops on the bottom of whatever it is that you're sewing. And if you have loops on the other side, which easily happens, in my case it doesn't, it means that your tension needs to be higher. So just move the tension up to about 7 to begin with and see if that works for you, and if that's okay, then brilliant. And if you need it even tighter, it really depends from machine to machine, you adapt it. Now I'm going to sew this down. Lengthen your stitch length, make sure it's 3.5 or even 4, and then on your presser foot you need to find a fixed point to go down, and that is what you line up. You do not look at your needle, you just look at that fixed point and your presser foot, right? So that you line that up with the seam, and that will give you a very even stitch on the side. You want to make sure that you do that on all 3 seams and leave out the opening.